It was Lee Hill's idea to take a publisher and make them a member of the Knight Foundation board. They asked me to do that, to be the first one, and I was grandfather till 80 years old. My gosh, 80 is the new 75, I guess.
He's actually been on the board for 22 years, and he's done an absolutely wonderful job.
Rolfe's retirement, it's bittersweet, more bitter than sweet.
He's been on the board for so long that it's hard to imagine Knight Foundation without Rolfe Neill.
You can replace one board member with another, but you can never replace a great voice.
He is Mr. Knight Foundation in Charlotte. He was for so many years.
If you needed an answer about just about anything, I think you could go to Rolfe. He knew of the brothers, he knew newspapers, he knew the Knight Foundation.
He shared his gift of friendship and knowledge of the brothers with us on a regular basis.
The gifts that they made, they might be considered ordinary by some people. Building a new Y, adding a building at the college campus, things of that nature. Yet they're extremely important to the institution building and enhancing in these communities.
Both my father and uncle gave much of their wealth to the foundation, and they wanted that wealth to go back to the communities. Rolfe carries that same sense of giving back.
A lot of those really catalytic early grants were around arts institutions that are still at play here today. But Rolfe cared about many things. There was this wonderful grassroots program that works with young people and introducing them to the notion of voting. Giving all people an opportunity is something that I think Rolfe has really cared about.
One of the grants I am really excited about is to attract hundreds of thousands to register and become citizens. These are people who are here legally, but they don't have that joy that comes from being a formal part of their new country. I think that's an initiative that Jack and John Knight themselves would have been excited about.
I've known Rolfe since I was a young editor, and he came in as publisher. He was stunningly handsome. But I got to know Rolfe more when I became the publisher of the Union Recorder in Milledgeville, Georgia. And I got one of those famous Rolfe letters telling me about the Knight Foundation.
The essence of what my letter was, be grateful for the gift that has been given you. 2, come to understand its purposes. 3, think of ways to use it imaginatively in behalf of your community. And finally, for God's sakes, get it straight about what it is when you describe it in a few words in your own newspaper.
I think we've all been subject to his rapid-firing list of provocative questions and his constructive criticism of nearly everything you hand him in writing.
He was, I believe, a paper boy. Probably got ink on his hands. It drew into his veins and it never left him.
He was a newspaperman's newspaperman. He would listen to what the facts were. He would try to keep an open mind, but boy did he ever make up his mind, and when he did, he let you know.
On the other hand, he's a softy. And I don't know anybody that Rolfe has met that he does not remember. It's an amazing quality, and it makes people feel so good.
Knight Foundation for him is made up of people, and he's been committed to the talent and the people here at Knight Foundation for every minute of every day that he's been involved in the work here.
Rolfe Neill is someone you will never forget, that you will admire from the beginning.
There's integrity in the man, and that is something I hope they say about any of us.
He's an award-winning, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, a publisher, a president of newspapers, and beloved especially in his community of Charlotte. There's a statue erected in his honor which pays great tribute to him and his work.
What he actually said to them was important enough that they wanted to remember it in stone. I don't think that happens to many people.
One of my sadnesses about stepping down from the Knight Foundation Board was that I would no longer have the opportunity to work with Rolfe.
He's got a great sense of humor, which is disarming under any circumstances. Rolfe Neill, in my judgment, is the consummate husband, father, grandfather, and friend.
He inspired me as a publisher, and the inspiration came from the proof that you could live a life of values and succeed in business.
He's built foundations here and supported the foundations here and the structures that allow Knight Foundation and its good, extraordinary people to do its work.
In Charlotte, I see the Community Foundation involved in Project Lift, which is a $55 million initiative to take 8 or 9 feeder schools to a high school in one of our lowest graduation areas, and really applying smart grant making, smart teaching to see that graduation rate significantly raised over the next 5 years. When your foundation, the Knight Foundation, has been instrumental in helping a foundation like the Foundation for the Carolinas to come of age, it makes you feel good. The wheel moves.